Hello, good night. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharp. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. I'm also here to share the excellent news. So, we have more approvals. We have a VAWA approval, work permit approval, as well as something new that I don't really talk about, but I think it's important to know about this option. We got two ITIN approvals. So I'm going to explain to you what that means, what an ITIN is, and how it could be useful to certain immigrants who are here in the United States. So those of you who are joining, I want to share the good news. We got a VAWA work permit approval today. So if anybody's telling you they're not giving out work permits, they're not approving VAWAs, there's no more green cards, that is not true. They are still moving forward with those for qualified individuals. And this is where I say check to see if you qualify, because if you qualify, then you could get your work permit and your green card as well. So I want to share this news. Because I'm in it. I'm in it with my clients. I can tell you what's going on. And this is a victory that we're celebrating, along with the many victories that we've received. This VAWA was filed in during this year. So in February of this year, we filed it, and now the work permit is here. So they are processing these, but you need to make sure that you qualify. So get in touch with us. Let's look at what you qualify for. The good thing about SC Law Office is we ask questions that other lawyers tend not to ask. And that's why we are able to get to solutions that our clients and other attorneys may not have thought about. So let's talk. Let's talk about your circumstances and see if one of the options that we work with can work for you to be able to get protection, get permission to live and work here in the United States. Because that is possible, guys. There's a lot of scary things going on, but there's a lot of good things happening at the same time. And the people who are being rewarded with the good things are those who are forging ahead, taking action to determine what they qualify for legally and pursue, and they go ahead and pursue it. Now, I did mention I got two ITINs today alone approved. What does that mean? What's an ITIN? So an ITIN is an individual tax identification number. And what it is those individuals, usually immigrants, who don't qualify for a social security number, can apply for the ITIN to be able to comply with tax laws. Now, there is a lot of it, you do have to approach it with caution because there are risk factors associated with applying for the ITIN, specifically if you've had a past removal order. If you've had a past removal order, in that case, they are moving forward and sharing that information with immigration. But anybody else, based on the updates I've been getting, they have not been doing that. But my clients received approvals without incident, and they can now go ahead and comply with the law, pay taxes. And why that's important, guys, is because if you're working here in the United States, you have to pay taxes. That's the law. And keep in mind that going forward, even in your immigration process, or if you ever are apprehended or you have to go before an immigration judge, in some cases, while you're applying for relief or to defend yourself against removal, showing that you've paid taxes can, one, show your continuous presence here in the United States, and it can also show your good moral character. So go ahead and consider that. Now, I'm not asking you to make a decision today because it really is on a case by case basis. But if you're working here, you want to comply with tax laws, get in touch with us and let's talk about it, and let's just evaluate your individual risk factors to see if this is a good option for you. So, for example, if you're filing taxes with your spouse, you may need an ITIN. And strategically, getting an ITIN in order to jointly file with your spouse can show bona fides of a marriage as well. So, there are different considerations, but it is possible. And we're getting those for our clients as well. So, I wanted to let you know about these options because yes, in some cases you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, determining should you go ahead and submit any information to the IRS. That's where you need to talk to us, and that's where we need to make sure that there are no additional risk factors before we move forward. But in everything, for example, the proposed Dignity Act is not law, but in every single bill that they've proposed to be law that has immigration reform in it, it talks about you have to show that you pay taxes. You have to pay taxes. And those who do have ITINs who are moving forward with paying taxes using their ITIN are at a head start. Now, we don't know when this immigration reform is going to be passed. I do believe and have faith that at some point we are going to see it pass. And at that point, I can guarantee it's going to have something in there about whether or not you pay taxes or whether or not you intend to pay taxes. So, this is also a reason you should consider going for your ITIN to be able to file taxes. All right. Now, I am a certified acceptance agent. So, what that means with the IRS, and what that means is so usually when one is filing for an ITIN, they have to send their passport without a certified acceptance agent. They have to send their whole passport in, and nobody wants to let go off of their passport, especially in these times. So, what we do is we apply on behalf of our clients. So we apply for it, we verify our client's identity, looking at their passport, and then we can give the passport back to our client. But then we can then certify the document as long as, of course, their identity is verified. We certify it and we submit it on behalf of the client. Any issues the IRS has, any communications that the IRS wants to, if they want to communicate, they're going to communicate with us on behalf of the client. So that's also a benefit of the certified acceptance agent, which I am a certified acceptance agent. So I can sign off on the filings once I've verified your identity without you having to go ahead and submit your passport directly to the IRS. That's another benefit. So you can always give us a call, let the staff know that you're interested in the ITIN, and then we can talk to you about your individual needs and how to move forward from there. All right. So now, for those of you who I know the question is going to be, how long did this VAWA work permit take? So we filed in February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So 7 months. So it took 7 months for this to come through. And now our client has protection. Our client went from being completely undocumented to now having protection, having a 5-year work permit that will enable him to have. And yes, our client is a man, because most people think only women can get VAWA. Our client is a man and now has his work permit and can move forward with, working legally, driving, getting his driver's license. So keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to answer questions now. So put your questions in the comments. Good night. My wife and I recently got married. I've been working for a while now. I didn't file 2 years of taxes. Now I'm married. Can we file those previous taxes together now that we are married? That is a very, very specific question. Are you the US citizen? If you're the US citizen, you must show that you must have filed your tax returns in at least the last 3 years. So you can always go to a tax service and have them file those taxes for you, and then you would be able to show those taxes. But I would say definitely talk to us, call us if you're going through the marriage based process and you don't already have a lawyer. Definitely get in touch with us, talk to us so that we can evaluate your specific needs. ITIN isn't a pathway to green card. It is for tax purposes. You're right. So the ITIN is not a pathway to the green card. Now, when I talk about immigration reform that has been proposed, every single one of them that have been proposed has stated that in order to get a pathway to the green card, you have to show that you've complied with tax laws. And this is where having an ITIN, complying with tax laws, can be beneficial in the future to showing good moral character, showing continuous presence, and also in the case that immigration reform is passed, that you have paid your taxes as well. It could give you a head start. Now, it's very important though to make sure you're evaluating your individual needs and options, because the risk factors are different based on who you are and what is going on in your individual situation. Uh, Okay, so I'm not sure. Make sure you're calling this number here. So call 561-405-4889. That is our only number official number. You should not be calling any other number because there's a lot of scams going on. What qualifies one for VAWA? So if you've been mistreated by a spouse, a parent, or an adult citizen child, then VAWA could be an option for you. Whether you've overstayed your visa, but no matter how you enter the US, you may qualify. Now keep in mind that VAWA is not the only option. When you call and you do a strategy session with us, we evaluate various options. We look at all the possible options that you could qualify for. And we do that by asking very detailed questions. I-797 approved. What can I expect next? I don't know. So the I-797 is reference to the notice, but what got approved? Then I'd be able to help you. How much time it takes for VAWA application receipt notice? We're noticing it's backed up right now, so you can expect 3 to 4 months. Can you say the number again? If you look at the strip going across, the blue ticker going across the bottom, you'll see the number. It's 561-405-4889. That's our number. You can call right now. Our phone lines are 24/7. What if the incident happened over 3 years ago, but suffering emotionally from the effects? So now it doesn't matter. What does matter though is if you're divorced. If you're divorced, then you have 2 years to file it. If you're still married but separated, then it doesn't matter how long. It could have happened 30 years ago and you separated right after, but you remained married. You could still qualify for VAWA. But we would still want to talk to you, because even if it didn't involve marriage, there may be other options depending on what happened to you. How much time? Let's see. Hi there, Althea. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining. If we're waiting for appointment in Ciudad Juarez, but my son joins the army, does my husband still need to go out? Well, that's a very good question. If your son joins the military, then there's a possibility, and say your husband entered without inspection and is here in the United States, then your son can apply for military parole in place. Military parole in place allows, then once granted, would allow your son to sponsor your spouse, and he would be able to apply for adjustment of status because of the parole. So give us a call. This is exactly what we help our clients with, and we have gone through that entire process. So we do military parole in place first, and then we move forward with the adjustment of status afterwards. So it's going to happen in two stages. Give us a call, talk to us ASAP so we can get started on something like that for you. So keep in mind that we have a whole team. I have a team of 40 people. So you have to go through our communication protocol. This is how we're able to help as many people as possible. We have two other attorneys that will go ahead, they'll schedule an appointment with you and then evaluate your situation in detail. We've helped many people this way, and we all carry the same mission. So no matter who you talk to here at the firm, they know the mission. So just talk to us, schedule your appointment, and then let's get to your solution ASAP. All right, thanks for those questions on Instagram. I'm a Jamaican, and whenever I call the secretary, um, so I'm not sure what you mean by that. We all speak English, so I'm not sure what you mean. Um, yeah, maybe you might be calling the wrong number because we all speak English there. What is the current processing time for an I-130 application? So I would say 9 to 12 months for immediate family members of US citizens. It could go up to years for any other categories, though. I've seen 2 to 3 years for those categories, and then they have to wait another 3 years. Hi, good evening. My sister waiting more than 32 months. For what? I would like to know how many months VAWA gets approved, please. Okay, so VAWA, the entire process from filing to green card, about 3.5 years. You do get the work permit, which is a 5-year work permit, at about the 6 to 12 month mark. And then the VAWA approval at about the 3-year mark, and then the green card at about the 3.5-year mark. I would like to know, so let's see, a friend on VAWA applied for renewal of E18 September 8, 2024, which expired on April 20th, 2025, using 6 months extension up till now. They have not answered him. They didn't pick up. What can he do? So in cases like that, we have submitted case inquiries if it has gone beyond the processing time. So you'd have to look at the processing times. If it goes beyond the processing times, you can always ask them, do a case inquiry and let them know it's beyond processing times. You're welcome, Victor. All right, I'm on TikTok. Good evening. I want to file for a U visa. How long does it take to get a work permit? About 1.5 to 2 years to get the work permit. But here's the deal. I know right now everything is urgent to get your papers right away. But you're putting yourself at an advantage just by submitting the application. Yes, it doesn't guarantee protection and it doesn't mean you have status, but it does mean that you are starting and you can show that you've applied for a benefit you qualified for with a receipt notice. That can help you stay out of detention. If you are detained, it can help you if you go before a judge, and it can help you with ICE even because they may take that into consideration, especially with T visas and U visas and VAWAs. Now, what I want to let everybody know is if you don't start now, you're never going to get there. So if the process takes, yes, 6 months to get the work permit, if you sit on it and you're like, oh my God, 6 months, I'm not going to bother, and you don't qualify for anything else, you're just letting time go by. File that application, and you'd be surprised how quickly that time goes by and you get it. all of my clients have started at zero. The clients that have been approved for work permits, for green cards, they started at zero and they are happy now that they took the action and did it. So you have to be decisive and you have to determine whether you're going to put yourself at an advantage to move forward. What happens with asylee I-485? So you submit that and they process it. Now, they are going to be a lot more stringent. They're reviewing, they have a robust fraud detection screening process going. So you just have to make sure that you're on your top game. Make sure you are consulting an attorney so that you have representation to guide you through the process. And this is not just about asylum. I'm telling everybody now, get an attorney. It's that important. Very minor mistakes can just throw the case into complications because of the policies now. One mistake could lead to a rejection or a denial that can lead to a notice to appear. Once you get a notice to appear in immigration court, there's no going backwards. There's no running back to file the application properly. It means you're now going to have to defend against removal and go before an immigration judge and try to prove to a judge. And here's the bad news. They're now firing a lot of judges that are experienced in immigration law, and they are now putting military lawyers in as judges and saying some lawyers don't have to have experience. What that means is that if you don't have experience making decisions on cases, there's going to be a lot of unjustified denials. So immigration court, while we are now in immigration court, we are defending individuals against removal because people need us there. It is one of those situations that I say, make sure you try to avoid it. And that's why we try to look at the front end. How can you avoid it? We look at what you qualify before anything happens and you end up in court. We try to take actions that help you to avoid going to court. But I want you to know this. Even though, yes, there are a lot of changes going on legally, you can still fight your deportation in court. And yes, there's probably going to be a lot more appeals, right? So even if you go to court, you get denied, you can appeal it, especially if it's based on the inexperience of the judge. You can appeal it and win it. And that can also give you more time. So there's a way, but you have to make sure that you're making all the moves to just make your life as easy as possible and put yourself at an advantage. Is USCIS collecting IRS info for all undocumented taxpayers only? The list USCIS provided. So they're looking for individuals who are under criminal investigation and those who have removal orders. So the risk factor goes up for them that the IRS will share that information. How long does it take to get the U visa? I submitted my application on 7/18/2018. I got my C-14, which is the work permit, on 08/01/24. So my experience is, because they only came up with the C-14, the deferred action, during the Biden administration. So, it takes about 2.5 years. My brother has, I would say, 1.5 to 2 years. My brother has been here in the US for 5 years with visiting visa. What can he do to help him out? What can we do to help him out? Siblings can't file for, even if you file for siblings, you're not going to, it's not going to be an easy process. And if they overstay, because nobody is here on a visitor's visa for 5 years, that visa is invalid. Visitors visas have a maximum of 6 months stay. You can do 6 months, maybe once every year or so for 5 years on a 5-year visa, but it doesn't mean you get to live in the US for 5 years. So in that case, they are out of status, they've probably overstayed their visa, and you have to, as siblings, unfortunately, it's a minimum of 14-year process, even if you qualify to file for your brother. Now, your brother doesn't mean he does not have options. We would like to talk to him, though, to figure out those options, to give him our number. The number, if you scroll to the top of the chat, the comment section, you'll see the number. So go ahead and give us a call. We're 24/7 and we'll be able to help you. So there's still some cases been approved, even though it's paused. So they're moving forward with the adjustment of status for asylum now, but they have implemented more stringent fraud detection screenings. I have a C-14. Can I still get detained and deported? I have no criminal record. Your risk goes down substantially with a deferred action, means you have protection against deportation, protection against removal. Especially if you have a clean record, you have a bona fide letter, you're complying with the terms of the C-14, then your risk goes down substantially. So, guys, you have a work permit is better than having nothing at all. Do I need to mention a close accident case where I was not at fault while filing on N-400? If it's not a criminal issue, and keep in mind, I'm not your attorney. I can't give you anybody here specific legal advice. So I cannot tell you yay or nay for your specific N-400. This is where I say get an attorney. We do help clients to obtain citizenship. Now, being in an accident is not necessarily something that is going to affect your good moral character. However, I don't know the facts, and that's where it's very important to weigh this carefully based on circumstances. What happened? I need to know more. Can they deport 16-year-olds with no documents? Yes. If that 16-year-old is not pursuing legal options, like, for example, SIJS, they can. So options, seek options. That's where you're going to get protection. My wife annulled the marriage after 10 years. Will I have a problem getting my citizenship? It depends on the facts. So divorce alone doesn't necessarily mean that, and I don't know, annulled after 10 years, that's strange. Because how could they get it annulled? Annulled basically reverses the marriage, like it never happened for over 10 years. So I don't know if you meant divorce, but if a divorce is going to raise new information in your citizenship application that leads the officer to suspect fraud, which fraud is going to be the number one thing, or lead the officer to conclude that you don't have moral character, then in that case, it could affect your citizenship application. I don't know what your specific situation is, but for example, if your spouse somehow got your marriage annulled because of fraud, that's going to affect the citizenship because now they're definitely going to want to know what kind of fraud that was. And if you're going back and you got the green card through your spouse and no, she annulled the marriage based on fraud, that is going to be a problem. I don't want to make any conclusions in specific to you, but I'm just bringing up scenarios where worst case scenarios. Now, if you have your 10-year green card, you just divorced, that happens. There's no incidents in regard to divorce. You just decided it didn't make sense for the both of you. Then it's unlikely to really affect you. But now it's even blurry. The process of citizenship is even more blurry. I would not be able to say straight up, hey, you're good to go, just because I don't know your facts. And this is how detailed you have to be in citizenship now. you have to be detailed to be able to provide information that shows your good moral character, all the good you've been doing. So even if you have this divorce on your record, you still, it is, if you can outweigh the negative with all the good you've been doing in the community, then the divorce may be less of an issue. But at the same time, they may look at your divorce. They're going to definitely pull the divorce filings to see what happened here. If they see anything in there that indicates, fraud or infidelity. Yes, infidelity can get you denied for citizenship. Or if they see anything like domestic violence, they are now saying that they can deny it based on non-criminal issues where you weren't arrested, but they found something on your conduct, then they can still deny it. So I need to know more. So give us a call. This is what we do here, and we can help you. We just want to understand your facts a little bit better. I went to green card interview last year, September. I have not heard anything else yet. Just it. So they're probably looking more into your application, into your background. They may be evaluating the evidence very carefully. Waiting that long after an interview is definitely um, you know, it can still be approved, but it definitely raises questions about what is it, what's the holdup? What happens if your asylum case is pending, but your work permit and SSN has been rejected 3 times? If it's been rejected 3 times, then something isn't adding up. You're probably not doing something right in regards to the procedural steps. You're supposed to apply for this after 150 days of your application. And then, at the 180th mark, after you apply, you'll get the green card. So, sometimes it depends on when you're applying. Visa overstay for 20 years, no criminal record. Can you be released on bond if detained? How long for hearing? So visa overstays are have a more likelihood have more likelihood that they'll be released. Those right now who are under the order under immigration policy right now, and now under the BIA, which is the Board of Immigration Appeals order, they are not entitled to bond. I know that there is going to be litigation in federal court to challenge this, and the federal court has usually found against policies like that, where somebody is detained, especially when it's not criminal, they've not been convicted of anything, where somebody is detained indefinitely. But we have to wait and see what the federal court decides. In the meantime, the policy is those who enter the country without inspection, so basically snuck across the border or came by boat, did not have in any inspection, will be detained indefinitely. They will not, the judges don't have jurisdiction or have the option to release them. And I guess in ICE, once they find that, they can't release them. So, but keep in mind that those who do have a visa overstay, that is not included in that order. Is a motion to MTA fine tickets affect my naturalization application? It may. Yes, MTA. So any tickets that you get now, they have noted, guys, that if they find any conduct that reflects badly on your good moral character, that may not be negative. May not be a criminal. It may not be a criminal offense, but it reflects negatively on your good moral character, they can deny. And you have to then adopt the way to be able to overcome that. The way you're going to overcome that is to show that there's all the positives outweigh the negative. For example, if you've gotten those tickets Then it's to show how long ago did you get those tickets? What did you do to correct the situation? What's the rest of your background look like? Do you take care of your family? Do you take care of your children? Do you consistently work? It's, so I say this, applying for citizenship now is like putting together an application for the best job of your life. You have to now show, instead of just showing a clean criminal record and that you pay your taxes, no, you really have to show that you deserve it through the good that you've done in your life. And it doesn't mean that you absolutely have to show volunteer work, for example, or that you go to church, but with the positives, what have you done positively in your everyday life? If overstayed and will get married, can you send wedding invitation request family to attend wedding? Yeah, that's a personal choice, of course. How long can you get married? No, if you overstayed, your invitation may not have much weight. Um, if your spouse is inviting them, maybe it would be better for your spouse who may be a U.S. citizen. But you'd have to be very careful with any communications, seeing that you've overstayed. How long can you get married after divorce? It depends on a number of. I have a number of follow-up questions there. I have been waiting for U visa for 7 years. How long for it to take to be approved? It can be 7 to 10 years. So um, it just depends on where you are on the wait list. All right. All right, I'm coming back to Instagram. I'm gonna make my way one more time, make rounds one more time, and then head out. I'm now a green card holder through marriage. My 9-year-old citizen step my 9-year-old citizen stepmom filed I-130 for him September 2024, still no approval. If she refuses to do adjustment of status, what can you do? So I think you've asked this question before, and if she's not going to file the adjustment of status, there's really no. I mean, well, here's the deal: you could file the I-130 belongs uh, to the petitioner, and then the adjustment of status belongs to the child. Now, if they it just depends on what's going on here. If she refuses to do the adjustment of status, then that's indicating there's some bad blood going on, or she doesn't want to be involved. And there, throughout the process, it can come out and cause a denial of the I-485 and withdrawal of the I-130. So, you'd have to tread carefully. But this is where I say, give us a call and we need to find out more details. It sounds like it's pressing you, because I've repeatedly gotten this question. So I think at this point you need to consult an attorney personally. I am, and keep in mind too, if that step parent is mistreating the child, that they can apply for their own process. I'm an asylee and waiting for interview, which is not scheduled yet. It has been almost 4 years now. How long do you think it will take from now for my interviews to be scheduled? It could be anywhere from 3 years to 10 years, believe it or not. Since most embassies are now closed, how do you renew your visa? Is there a way? I don't know about that. We just got visas for our clients, so they're not closed. That's misinformation. Maybe they're more selective, but they're not closed because our clients are getting visas at the embassies. We have an upcoming interview in Nigeria, and we've had interviews all year, almost every month in Jamaica at the embassy there for visas. Can an RFE hold up the time frame to receive your work permit after biometrics? It may. Yeah, it may. I'm married to a US citizen, and because I miss a court date, they put me in removal. So now I got a next court date. I got another court date next year. Okay, so definitely you should talk to us. So talk to us, and we can help you with that. We can go ahead and it is now removal proceedings, but there are different things that we could address with the judge. So you just have to give us a call. Let's talk in detail and figure out the best strategy for you. Did VAWA in January? Did biometrics already? What's next? So the next thing is usually the prima facie determination letter and then the work permit. I-797 approved. What can I expect next? So I'm not sure which, let's see. I don't think you followed up with what was approved. Now, keep in mind that you Googled an answer and then you wanted a second opinion, but keep in mind, Google and an answer from me on a live show is not legal advice. You should consult an attorney. So do not take my information as a legal opinion. Okay, I'm not giving legal advice here, so don't take any actions until you consult an attorney. And don't Google. Google tends to simplify things, especially right now. Yes, I mean, you can be informed, but some things, you know, you really have to understand it to be able to take action on it. And Google may not be the right place to break it down for you. We filed T visa and I-765 last 0125. We have biometrics done last 0425. How long now it will take to get EAD and T visa approval? So right now, work permits, I would say anywhere from 8 months to 10 months for the work permits. Bona fide determination, about the 6 month mark. How much time it take in T case? Applied after 3 year adjustment of status, I-45 in March. How it's about 2.5 years. I have overstayed my visa, then got married and have 2 kids. My wife has been convicted of domestic violence toward me. What are my options? Give us a call. We need to talk to you. I can't confirm options here, but it sounds like you may have a good case for VAWA, for example. So give us a call and let's talk. We help our clients to achieve it. So take action now. You may have a solid case here. We just got a work permit approval for one of our clients that went through a similar situation. Pending VAWA can be protected. Pending VAWA can be protected from deportation. So I would say, as they've said, filing a petition alone does not guarantee status or protection, but it puts you at an advantage because you can go before the court. You can, if you get detained, it can be a basis for you to be released. It can be a defense in court if you have pending relief. So it's a little easier and you are at an advantage when you show that you do qualify for something. Can students get green card? No. her student visa has know that her student visa has expired. Not, no. So students can't just get green cards. But if you qualify in one way or the other, you can. But just being a student alone, especially with an expired student visa, is not going to get you to the green card, unfortunately. This is where we're hoping for immigration reform. Approximately 2 years, you suggested T visa, but the payment plan. So get in touch with us. Please do not talk about any of your personal issue here. We want to maintain confidentiality. So please don't call our office, talk to us. We want to protect your confidentiality. My I-360 was approved last year, September, and I just filed my I-45. How long should this take me to get a green card? So it could be anywhere from 6 months to another year. How long does it take to get your work permit from TPS? So no, I don't know what TPS you have. It depends on the country that you're from. But, I've seen it take a year right now. The TPS work permit is very frustrating because it's taking a long time. Okay, and I'm back on TikTok. It's been 12 months since my husband filed for our daughter. How much longer will it take? I don't know. It just depends on your case type. Where is your daughter? And I'm not her attorney, so I wouldn't be. What I'm saying are estimates based on my experience, but it does not mean that that's going to be the case for you. I have a pending I-539. Can I apply for AOS or wait for my change of status to be approved first? Change of status will not get you to the green card or qualify you for adjustment of status. So, if you're strategically applying for extension of status and then you're going to apply for AOS, then you need to definitely talk to an attorney. You can talk to us because you have to do everything very carefully. My mom filed an I-130 for me in May 2019. She's a permanent resident and I'm over 21. How much longer? So count about 5 to 7 years. Do you help people with criminal background get through their citizenship? Absolutely, yes. Give us a call, talk to us about it. We can evaluate what happened and then determine your chances going forward. Is there a registry program for anyone who has lived in the US for more than 7 years? No. Those have been suggested, but nothing has come into law. There's a registration process to qualify for the green card for those, I believe, who lived here in 1972, I think, but not recently. And there are talks to upgrade that registry. We have to overcome the current climate right now to get there. I do believe that it's coming. If you're detained, do you have to see a judge to post bond? How long to see a judge? If ICE will not grant you bond, then you have to see the judge, and usually you'll be granted a hearing. So usually, what happens is you have to wait for a notice to appear. Once you have a notice to appear on file, I would say it could take anywhere from 2 days to a week to get that notice to appear. Then file the bond redetermination hearing, and that will take about 10 days from the date of filing. And that's where the judge is going to then look at whether you qualify for bond. So now they're going to look at are you a flight risk? And are you a harm to the national or public safety? If you're not, and you're not a flight risk, then the judge can grant bond. So it just depends on your particular situation. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the likes. I really appreciate it. And because when you do that, other people are seeing this information and it's helping them to get information that empowers them. My wife have interview last 2 days in Senegal. The consulate tell her you're married before. So it depends on what did she properly terminate the marriage. If she didn't, then they would deny the case. So you have to properly terminate your marriage and show proof of that before remarrying. So I don't know if it had something to do with that. Do you apply on paper when you have asylum pending with I-131 and how much it costs? So I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you're under 21 and case got approved, can she get the work permit? Got approved if you are a US citizen under 20 and the child is under 21, then you could file for adjustment of status and get the work permit at the same time. I have a pending I-3. Okay, so I answered that. Okay. So that's it. If your partner can't travel to the US, can you get married virtually, which is not a proxy marriage to add partner as T derivative? That is we'd have to look into that. It really depends, on the laws of the country and whether it's considered legally recognized. So we'd have to look further into that. Are you still getting T visa approvals for your clients? Yes, we are. And we have gotten work permits for our clients. So take action, guys. That's the only way it's gonna happen to you is to take action, confirm you qualify, and take action. Give us a call. We are 24/7. The number is 561-405-4889. Go ahead, call us. Let's talk to you. Let's evaluate your options. Our schedules are filling up very quickly, so it's best to get on the schedule. You can call anytime. If you're thinking about us 3 in the morning, call and you can go ahead and schedule your appointment then. Thanks everybody for spending this time on this Saturday. I'm sorry, I'm already into Saturday, on this Friday. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on Monday. Thanks everybody. It's nice to see you. Bye bye.